When people hear opioid crisis, the first thing they think of is prescription medications like oxycodone and Percocet. But in the DEA's 2017 National Drug Threat Assessment, they say the percentage of illegally sold opioid narcotics on the market is actually less than 1% of what's prescribed. This misleading concept has led many pain patients to believe the crackdown isn't focusing on the right drugs. Thank you, Julia. Take a look at this trap. This is just one of the traps that the Car Fire Pet Rescue and Reunification Group has set up in the area to help them find lost or injured animals from the car fire. Now, traps like this one, along with feeding stations and game cameras, have been set up in the area to help in their efforts. This test allows them to measure the soil burn severity in different areas. If the water sinks into the soil, then you know it has low to moderate soil burn severity. But if it rolls off, it's hydrophobic. Let's test it. It sinks in. The soil is good. Well, if you're trying to find new ways to invest your money, you've probably looked into cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. But for novice investors like many Americans, navigating the inner workings of this new online market may be difficult. That's where websites like BitConnect come in. They claim to be able to help users earn high returns on their cryptocurrency investments. But experts say websites like this are often too good to be true. Watch this. I'm going to use this temperature gun to tell you how hot the slide is. It says the slide is 151 degrees right now. This is an example of what a contractor's license should look like. Once you get this number, put it into the California Contractors State License Board website to check out the information. Just weeks ago, Whiskeytown Cemetery was a special site where people could pay tribute to their lost loved ones with individually decorated graves. But now, the burnt headstones are a reminder of the loss many residents are facing after the car fire.
In this darkness, we definitely have a light that is shined on us, and we feel very grateful for that.
3 generations of Charles and Mary Jo's family lost homes in the car fire. Their biggest loss? Mary Jo's wedding ring, with diamonds passed down from her mother and grandfather, thought to be destroyed, hidden in a truck outside their son's home.
I had a lot of guilt about taking such a valuable and precious thing that had such family history and putting it there.
So Charles set out on a mission to find Mary Jo's ring. Despite the odds, they say it's from ashes like these that they made a very special discovery. Charles and his friend Carl sifted through the ashes, cup by cup, almost giving up, until
the next scoop came in. I looked down and I realized it was my wife's wedding ring, and I just started crying. And he looks at me and he says, "That's what you're after, wasn't it?" And I said, "Yeah."
Charles' joy matched by Mary Jo and her 90-year-old mother, Doris.
I just broke down. I couldn't believe it. I said it had to be a miracle.
Now, Goldmart is fixing the ring for free and managed to save the priceless stones. Finding the ring brought new hope to the family, but Charles' cousin reminded him what really matters.
You have your wife, you have your mother-in-law, you have your son that's Cal Fire, you have Molly Dodger Dog, you got everything you need. You're the richest man I know.
Briona Haney, KRCR, News Channel 7. Good evening, Allison. This deadline is especially important for Delta fire survivors who have a very limited time to get this process started. Chelsea Irvine with the Small Business Administration says the first step in the process is to register with FEMA to get immediate assistance with expenses like rent, medical needs, and food. The next step is to register with the Small Business Administration. They offer up to $200,000 in loans for homeowners who fix, rebuild, or move, and up to $40,000 more for homeowners and renters for lost belongings, including cars. She adds, if you get a loan, you don't have to take all the money at once, and if you don't use it, you won't gain interest. But that's not where the process ends.
And there are going to be some people where maybe a loan isn't the best option. Maybe you're on a fixed income or something like that. well, it's still important that you go through the SBA process, because for most homeowners and renters, if we're unable to approve you for a loan, we then may refer you back to FEMA for what's called other needs assistance. So it's not a promise of a grant, but it's the potential of an additional grant assistance.
As of this morning, they've approved more than $27 million in disaster assistance loans, 95% of it for homeowners and renters. Register with FEMA at disasterassistance.gov or at the old Kmart at 2685 Hilltop. This is the only location for both Carr and Delta fire survivors. Briona Haney, KRCR News Channel 7.
Most of the people were trapped on the Atlas Peak, and the people couldn't get out.
Officer Pilot Chad Millward and Flight Officer Paramedic Phil Agdipa of the CHP Northern Division Air Operations in Redding responded to the Atlas fire in Napa County in October of last year, rushing to the scene in their rescue helicopter, unsure of what to expect. But as soon as they arrived, they saw the fire closing in on nearby homes.
The gravity of the situation was pretty obvious once we crested Atlas Peak and we looked down and saw the wall of fire,
leaving many residents with little to no warning.
Given the time at night that it started, everybody's asleep. Firemen are asleep, police officers are asleep, the citizens that live in that area are asleep, so it's going to be really hard to make notifications to get people up out of bed and, before this thing hits their doorsteps.
So the officers jumped into action.
All this equipment on the wall, we offloaded the equipment in the side compartments. We took out to basically shed weight to allow us to pick up more people at once.
Working alongside two other officers from the Golden Gate Division, Officers Millward and Agdipa saved a total of 41 people from the flames, personally saving 15 people, 5 dogs and 2 cats by themselves.
One person that really stands out is a lady who was 8 months pregnant, and we were able to get her out, and we've since learned that she has delivered the healthy baby.
And now, 1 year later, their work hasn't been forgotten. All 4 officers were honored with the Medal of Valor from the California Peace Officer Association in September, although Officers Millward and Agdipa say they don't want to do it for the attention.
We're grateful that we received the award, and that is a nice honor, but that's not why we do the job. We do it because that's why we're driven.
Their actions will surely be remembered for many years by those they saved that night. Reporting in Redding, Briona Haney, KRCR News Channel 7.